Hey Wolfpack, and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's compilation. Unfortunately, tonight I will not be live streaming as a few things have come up and I won't honestly have the time for it. But I will be back next Sunday. So, tonight we're starting a new series called I Work the ER Department Night Shift, and this is some of the weirdest shit I've seen. Written by MouseCurtains. So with that said, whether you're sitting around a campfire, on the night shift, or even laying in bed, let my voice soothe your nightmares. I'm a nurse who works the night shift in the ER, so I've seen some pretty fucked up stuff. I've been on this job for only a year now, and honestly, I'm surprised I've lasted this long. I guess the majority of the time it's rewarding, saving people, especially kids, you know? But some of the stuff I'm about to tell you is enough to outweigh that feeling enough to make you quit for good. I'm used to it now. Plus, I've only encountered milder stuff compared to my colleagues, but a certain recent event has made me question where I stand. So, I ask you to help me understand what the fuck is going on here. One of the first things I experienced on the job was more weird than scary. It was a woman who came in complaining of pins and needles all over her body, saying it doesn't hurt too bad, but I can't move, and static is inside of me. Of course, I immediately thought she was having a stroke, and a group of more experienced doctors came to run some checks. A few days later, I heard from one of the nurses that that woman died, but not of a stroke. She had died of organ failure, because all of her organs were as old as an extremely elderly individual, as if someone had put the insides of a person dying of old age in a 30-year-old woman. We're talking every single organ too. That nurse thought that that static sensation the woman was trying to explain was like an increased aging sensation, like growing pains. I laughed, but it unsettled me. This woman was healthy, no history of drug use, alcohol abuse, or even smoking. Just completely unexplainable. I found it weird that she didn't seem to have any family, but this is a running trend in these inexplicable experiences. None of the patients ever have any family. After that, things became scarier, weirder. A guy comes in bleeding from both eye sockets, no eyes present, but complains about stomach pains. Obviously, everyone in the night shift is more concerned about stopping the bleeding from his empty sockets, and when I say bleeding, I mean this guy was straight up going to die from blood loss if we didn't stop it. He really didn't seem to care about his eyes, or even notice it, and instead was absolutely losing his shit about the pain in his stomach and how we had to get it out of him. We were telling him how we will sort his stomach out once we stop the bleeding. He starts becoming rather aggressive, and gets restrained and pulled into an empty room, and the responsibility of keeping this guy alive isn't in my hands anymore. One of my colleagues, let's call her A, came out of that room around 45 minutes later, pale as a sheet, and just says the most horrific sentence. His eyes, they were in his stomach. When she settled down more, I pressed her about what exactly happened in there. Apparently, the guy went totally insane and just ripped into his torso with his bare hands, tearing into his flesh and ruptured his stomach. He almost died instantly. One of the doctors, I won't say who because he could get into real shit with this, curiously looked into the stomach and found the guy's fucking eyes swimming around in there. This lunatic ate his own eyes. A didn't quit, but a few other nurses did. Like always, no family. I think I should mention, I don't work in a big city. I work in one of those hospitals that lay in the middle of 3 small towns, so we're not exactly the busiest ER department, but we do get a fair share of people who get into accidents on the road, and some of our patients are from all over the state. Nearly every single one of these horror story patients seem to come from nowhere, like we put their name into a database and just nothing shows up. People from the towns don't know them when their obituaries turn up in the paper, and no trace of their cars in the car park. The ambulances never bring them to the hospital. It's like they walked straight out of dense forest to get here. A told me another story of a patient that really creeped her out. I'll be telling it from her perspective. I think it's easier to explain what happened that way. Well, if you can explain the unexplainable. So, it's like 3 a.m., and this woman walks in with an arrow straight through her neck. Firstly, I'm running checks on her to see how the fuck she's walking around with an arrow through her neck. How she's literally acting like nothing is wrong, but she doesn't speak. She's just smiling at me. All these other doctors rush over trying to figure out what to do, but she's just motionless, staring and grinning at me. She was a Miss... blanked out the name for privacy reasons. I can't discuss patient information. And she was 37 years old and extremely tall, like basketball player tall, which made me feel even more on edge. Out of nowhere, staring right at me, she just pulls this arrow straight out of her neck, and her neck snaps and it falls to the ground, still grinning. There's no blood, as though the arrow was like a built-in support to her neck, and removing it would break it. I just can't get her smile out of my mind. It was as if she was taunting me, like something that wasn't human knew exactly how to get under my skin. That's all I've got for now, but I'll try to keep you guys updated with more stuff I hear about or remember. Thanks for watching, Wolfpack. If you want to catch me by the fire next time, I upload every weekend including Friday. Don't forget to like the video as it helps me out more than you know. If you want to submit your story, head down to the description. Now, here's Roken to howl you off to sleep. Have beautiful nightmares.